Good morning, Rabbi Sai. It's so geschmack to be back. For now, Lili Nishma Simi Merosi Rusva Mordechai. It's a whole different thing. I want to show you a picture from the other side of the world, Melbourne, Australia, the Siyum, on Maseches Megillah. Those of you who don't remember, when we're here in the building, it has to be still. Just reminding some of the guys. It's been a while. Tzvi Balsam from Borough Park. In the last 10 years since I got married, being part of the rat race in Brooklyn, the last thing on my mind on a daily basis was learning Gemara. 2 months ago, I was at a bar mitzvah of the father, the bar mitzvah boy, my brother-in-law, Yoeli Doppelt. Now we're getting to know who Yoeli Doppelt is. He made a siyum on Maseches Rosh Hashanah. I don't think he knew. Today, Yoeli is sponsoring. Yeah, but he didn't know that. It's not to get to that. He made a siyum on Maseches Rosh Hashanah. He even read out loud his Essen Delicatessen email to the Olam. By the way, he mamish loves the attention he gets from writing his funny emails. Yeah. While he was making that siyum, his face was radiant. I said to myself, I want to do it also. The next morning, I checked out MDY and they even a Daf app, and I'm proud to say I just made my very first siyum ever on Megillah. The name of this, the subject of the email is First Siyum of My Life. Thank you, Rebelli, and thank you, Yoeli, for helping me change my life. P.S. I once heard an amazing concept that I feel is relevant to the Daf and keeps me going. A Chassidish guy came to the Rebbe and told him, I'm tired and I fall asleep at Tish. Why should I come? The Rebbe responds, like a train. You're sleeping on the train, you'll arrive at the same destination. Sometimes doing the Daf at 6 a.m., I might space out or doze off, but I feel like I'm on the MDY train and that's all that matters. Tzvi Balz in Borough Park. And this is what his children made for him for his first siyum ever. By Aryeh Rosenfeld. Hey Rebelli, wanted to share this picture with you. I got permission from Menashe Blaustein, steiging the daf with you. He told me he made his first siyum ever. Another one, first siyum ever. First time opening up a Gemara since early high school. I'm telling you, it's every day this thing. 1 year at a time. We're going to make a change 1 year at a time. And you could help. 1 minute, where's that guy? What's his name? The air conditioner guy. Where is he? Tell me your name. Zevi Grossman from what air conditioning? Platinum Air. Yesterday he made a siyum. He brought 13 people to the daf. 13 people from one siyum. This is Blaustein. Menashe Blaustein. Do you recognize? Is this from LA? This is Toronto? He's from Toronto. Okay. Menashe Blaustein doing the daf right over here. Okay. We met at a yeshir a couple weeks ago. This must be 2 months ago. Let me see. This is from December 10th. Okay. By the way, I get a lot of emails. I read every single one. Every single one. Obviously, we can't read every single one in the shir. So I make it interesting, make it exciting, and I'll read it, Be'ezer Hashem.
You don't get to reply to them.
I don't get to reply to any of them, even the questions and learning. That's your job, Yosef. We met at your shir a couple weeks ago. I told you there's 2 people from Silver Spring in the shir. Silver Spring. By the way, he writes in the bottom, not Springfield, not Silver Springs with S. Silver Spring. You told me there's at least one more. Turns out, when I went to shir and I was introduced, I started getting texts. My wife got texts. You are at MDY, oh my Hashem. I wrote that. So we found out, OMG, there's another 10 to 15 MDYers we never knew about in Silver Spring. It's a little bit like discovering an unknown relative. Anyways, Baruch Hashem, we're now planning on making first MDY Silver Spring siyum. Thanks for all the chizuk. I think the biggest shock when I try to get people to join the shir is that you really can feel the Maseches HaTorah. I've done Daf Yomi many times and always fallen off the bandwagon because over time didn't feel the geschmack and get guilty that I have to get back to Eon. But with MDY or shir, I do feel the Maseches. So Nachamal, he says like this. He gets guilty that I have to get back to Eon. Real learning. With MDY, your shir, I feel the Maseches HaTorah from Daf. It's not even though it's the shir, it's full of the emails, jokes, sometimes irrelevant stories. In fact, maybe those things that contribute to make the Daf so geschmack best. Matisio Welik, Silver Spring. All right, Rabbi Sai, the sponsors for today, very chashuv sponsor. We have almost the whole year sponsored for the koil. But don't hesitate. You could jump in. You could also sponsor more. We could have 2 sponsors per month. But the sponsor HaChodesh is Chayim. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Today is Chaim's birthday, so happy birthday, Reb Chaim. Lili Nishmas Yeshua Avrumie Leib HaKohen Ben Yonis Chaim. I heard good news that they took him out of his room. They put him in another room. So I think that's encouraging news. Maseches Moed Katan is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther Devora bekorov. I heard a crazy thing. They opened up a fundraising thing for Yidi. How much money did they raise for him? $150,000 just from MDY. $150,000, unbelievable. What? Oh, Klali, not just MDY. Okay. 60 from MDY. Avrumie and Shprintzy grows in memory of the yahrzeit of our father, Yom and Aייzik ben Tzvi, Hirsch, הכהן, Eli kopolovich. That's Memchutin. I hope you got a discount. This was my father. Huh?
I charged him double, like you said.
Double. Nishma, Zalman ben Ya'akov. The Schwartz and Solkowitz family. Nishmas, Sharna Bas Shalom Yehuda, on her first yahrzeit. She was a Holocaust survivor, lived till 105. We had the schus to name our baby, so our Sharna after her, less than 1 month from when she was nifter. Fteres, Larry Loeb, yahrzeit of Meir ben Yehuda Arya, Eli Doppelt, the famous Eli Doppelt, that convinced his brother-in-law to do this. And look, a guy uses his humor, he has a tremendous sense of humor, uses it for the right thing. Eli Doppelt and Shammai Goldberg, in the hopes that, I don't know if I should say this, Tiny, I'm not going to say it, Nussbaum F10 joins the Daf Yomi. You want your money back, get your money back. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to be, I don't know what it is, but it's a kinui. We don't do kinui. Mendy Greenfeld, Refuah Chaim Yitzchak Bemichal, and by Simi Mandelbaum, in honor of Reb Chaim from Lakewood's birthday. Here we go, Rabbi Yisai, that Vov Amud Aleph on top, 4 lines down. So we learned, if you have a field that there's some sort of rumor, we know that there's something happening here, something was buried here. There's a grave in the field, so Talmud Chacham could say that it was plowed over, and therefore it has a different halacha. If it was plowed over, so there's no bones anymore, there's just fragments. Fragments you can blow away, get on all 4 and blow. If it's a caver, then there's oil, you can't go over it with your truma. You can't blow your way through it. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Achi Yesham Zokin or Talmud. You have to have an elderly or a Talmud. In other words, the Talmud Chacham, Lefi she'ena kol bekim b'dover. What does it mean? Omer Abaye Shma min otzuvim mirabbanon dike b'masa. When you have a Talmud Chacham in the city, so don't just look down at him, the koil guy. Kol mini l'masa alei ramya. He knows how to figure out the important things in the city, where the graves are, where the graves aren't, how to walk through different things. He takes care of these things. We just take it for granted. These guys behind the scenes, the rabbis, they care, the Eru of the this, the that. These are like those kind of things. Omer Rabbi Yehuda, Matza even mitzuyenes tachtel tameh. So let's say you find a stone, large rock, and it has lime on top. So you could assume that there's tumah underneath the stone. Yesterday we learned that you have to distance it slightly. Why? Because you're walking in a field, you don't want to, oops, I'm on it. It's too late, you're on it. You have to give it a little bit of a distance from the grave. So if somebody does stumble on it, he knows that the tumah is coming up in 2 feet. But since this is a tall thing, you can't miss this. So you can have the tumah directly below it. That's how Rashi explains. Underneath the stone, it's tameh. Shtayim. What if you have 2 stones? You have 2 stones, and they both have sid. They have a shtickle MDY chart. That's not tumah. That's gdusha. I don't know why I put it there. Whatever. I ran out of place where to put it. So somebody marked these stones. So you know that there's some graves underneath. What about between? Now, what you could do is, you could say, since there's a stone A and stone B, so it's to mark that the area between it is also tameh. That's one way to look at it. Or no, the grave, each one, it's like a cemetery. Here's grave 1, grave 2. There's no tumah between them. Says the Gemara, depends. Im yesh sid b'neim tameh. If there's a little white, so you'll see soon why I did it kind of weak. Shalom Aleichem Rav Levi. We just spoke about you last night. Mazel Tov Levi. Get over here, Levi. Mazel Tov. What a simcha. Ya'akov was a big part of the shir. Mazel Tov. Beautiful. Good girl? Givaldic. Well, thanks for coming late as usual. Wow. Thanks for coming, period. I hope I didn't embarrass you. I told a group of people yesterday, about 25 people about you. I told them the story about Hatzalah. Can I say it aloud now? Say it out loud. Levi is not only a principal of a very popular school here, he also helps run the Hatzalah of Bet Shemesh. So one day, I come home, and for some reason, he's sitting in a couch in my house, waiting for me. Like, yeah, Shalom Aleichem, my name is Levi, I'm here to collect money for Hatzalah. So as he's leaving, the door's open, I go, what's a Torah? Looks at me, what do you mean? I'm like, Torah, you learn Torah? I'd like to learn more. I said, I have a shir, 7:15 in the morning, I tell him where it is. This is 3 years ago. So I thought it was a waste of time. The next morning, he shows up at 7:15, and Levi has not missed a single day in 3 years. A single day, besides when he's on call delivering babies, usually because there's no hospital in Ramat Hashem, there's always the delivery in the morning, whatever. But besides that, and besides when he goes to America. Other than that, he's never missed a day. Not only that, he does the Zichru program now, does the Chazara, unbelievable. It's a real story. Zokti Gemara. So you have two stones. B'neim Tameh, V'im Ein Sid B'neim, B'neim Tar. If there's no lime between the two stones, obviously there's no kaver. If there is, then it's Tameh. It shows that there's a kaver. What do you mean? So look in the back, there's a plow guy, there's a tractor with a plow here. If it was plowed between them, but you need to plow it in order to make it tar. If it's not plowed, it's tameh. What's happened is there's a lot of lime on top of the stone and very little, like over here, very little. So we could say, if there's some sort of tractor that went by there and plowed it up, I'll say that the only reason this is white on the ground is because the plow hit the stones and peeled off some of the paint. That's why you see some sprinkles of paint. It peeled off. But if not, if there's no chayrish, there's no plow, so you know that he specifically, purposely spilled white lime over there, v'tamei, to show that there's tum underneath. Omar Ravasi, meitzer echad mitzuyon. Oh, here you go. All the Gemara is going to say is now, if there's one marking on one border, or even two, or even three, the tum is directly below that marking, but it doesn't show that the rest of the field is tameh. But if there's four, then the entire field is tameh. I'll tell you why. How could you get into the field? You can't get into the field. The only way to get into the field is walk over this electric, invisible wire here and electrocute yourself or become tameh, because there's tumah throughout the entire four sides. And memela, the whole thing is tameh. Inside. Only where the white marking is, that's where the tumah is. Two means that again. Three, same halacha, but the whole field is tar. The only difference is when it's four. So, yes, perhaps the tumah is a couple of inches past this line. But once you walk in here, you already touch the tumah no matter what. And therefore, the whole sada, the whole field, is tameh. Next, sugya. So we learned in the Mishnah that on Chol Moed, the messengers of Bezdin run around all the fields. It's crazy if you think about it. Everybody had fields in those days. They all took parnasa from the field. And you have messengers running around. It's crazy amount of work. Going around, finding kalayim, seeds, different growths that came from two seeds, a combination of two different plants, which is asur. And they go and they pluck all these klaim. V'yotzim aval haklaim an chalamayim. Ask the Gemara, why would you be allowed and permitted to go on chalamayim to do such a thing? Or, better yet, it never even happened. Why? So it's a Mishnah in Maseches Shkolim that on the first day of Adar, this is a halacha that we bring the carbon tamid every morning and evening. We bring it from the money of the shkolim, from Trumas al Shkolim. And it has to be from brand new money, meaning it has to be money that was collected by Nisan. All the older money goes into another pushka. So they have a whole pile of money and they take 3 boxes, a whole process. But every year on Nisan, they start over. It has to be the new money. Okay, but a month before Nisan, the first day of Adar, you start warning people, reminding them, put money aside, you need nimachzas shekel for me, every single person. Valaklayim. So when do we tell people about Klayim? The first day of Adar. Now, b'chamisha asar boy, not on Chalamoid Pesach, which is also on the 15th, but the 15th of Nisan. We're talking about a month earlier. B'chamisha asar boy of Adar, Chayr Nisa Megillah, B'krachim. Oh, we just had a whole Masechta about it. Read the Megillah in a city that has a wall from the time of Yeshua ben Nun. We had this yesterday. Kavitz is a lashon of koitz, because when I said it yesterday, and the only person sitting in front of me was Noam, and he's like, interesting. Kavitz was right. You did such a sefei. I remember. Kavitz is a lashon of koitz, kuvav tzadik. You go ahead and you clear the thorns. Remember, and if the bezin doesn't do it, and somebody dies because of the thorns, it's on them. To fix the streets, and to measure all the mikvahs. And they do everything that's important for the tzibur. You said that means even to dig a brand new ditch for water. And they mark up the graves with some sort of paint. Today it's blue, in those days it was white lime. But it says mefurish. What day are we talking about? The 15th of Adar. The day that you read the Megillah is the day that everybody goes out and they start looking for usur plants called Klayim. So why are you telling me that it's on Pesach, it's on Chalamayim? Says Rashi, but what about all the other things? You're asking me a question on Klayim, but what about the Rechayvos? What about the Mikvahs? We have a contradiction from our Mishnah to that Mishnah. Over there it says that we fix everything. We fix a mikvah, we fix a street, we mark up a grave, we do everything when? The 15th of Adar. Over here in our Sugi it says it's the 15th of Nisan. How come the Gemara doesn't address that? Says Rashi, because it constantly rains. So if it rains, then the mikvah needs to be filled up again, that this has to be this, the marcation on the grave is going to come off, there's going to be more thorns, the mikvah is going to dry up, different things happen, so you have to repeat the process. The city doesn't just go by one time looking at mikvah and Shalom Yisrael, and the next year they come again. But when it comes to Klayim, says Rashi, all you need to do is pluck it once, it's gone. It's like a weed, you take it out, that's it, you're done. You don't have to do it again. Coming in. Says the Gemara, Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Yezebel Chanina. So, we have 2 dates, the 15th of Adar, the 15th of Nisan. Which one is it? So we have 2 pshatim, either from Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Yezebel Chanina, Rebbe Lazar, or Rebbe Yezebel Chanina. Chadamar kan bebakir kan ba'afel. It depends. This is the earlier crop, and this is the later crop. So, this pshat is you have to go to every single field and check. Sometimes there's the ones that grow quickly. You got to get rid of those. And then a month later, you come when typically things grow, like the wheat, whatever. You come then and you do it again. So he's more specific. He says, listen, it depends what's growing. If it's vegetables, they grow much later. So that's the date of the 15th of Nisan. If it's wheat, it grows earlier. Let's go earlier. In other words, the difference is, the bezin doesn't have to go to every field. They check out, what are we growing here? Oh, it's a vegetable garden, we'll come back next month. Oh, it's a wheat field, let's do it this month. The other pshat, the first pshat is, the bezin has to go both times. Because you never know. Sometimes things sprout out early, and therefore we got to get rid of it right away. Or no, we wait. If you don't see it sprouting, great. You go out earlier. Says the Gemara, it's kind of strange. Think about it. We have nothing better to do. Everybody's going on Chol Hamoed trips. It's also to work on Chol Hamoed. You have to have a very good reason of a monetary loss. You can't just go to work. So we picked the couple days a year that's mamish a problem to work. Why would we do that? Says Gemara, Omer Ya'akov, Omer Yochanan, Mishum Schar Peula the Moizli Gaban. You know why? Because we find very inexpensive labor. There are many people that don't go to work on Chol Hamoed, and it's better for us to hire them then. Says Taisvus, like 3 Taisvus from the bottom, small Taisvus. The Moizli Gaban. Okay, so we're going to have a machlokes on Daf Yom. If a guy doesn't have anything to eat, look at this. I mean, this gives us an idea of working on Chol Hamoed. A lot of people go to work on Chol Hamoed. But we're going to have a machlokes. It doesn't have what to eat. He doesn't have bread, not steaks. He doesn't have bread to put on the table. Then I allow him to go to work. Okay. So we're talking about a guy like that has 0 to eat. We'll allow him to work for Bezdin picking Klein. Also, but according to the Amud Aleph, you hear this? It's also to work on Chol Hamoed, just like it's also to work on Pesach. Even if a guy doesn't have what to eat, nobody says he's allowed to work on Pesach day. Chol Hamoed is Pesach. Chol Hamoed is Yontif. Don't forget it. It is Yontif. Just we have certain Atayrim. So the Amud Aleph says no. So Mela, how's he allowed to work? How could you hire a worker on Chol Hamoed? Vishama says Taisus, maybe, I don't know, but maybe shleima the mitzvah is hitiru. Maybe there's some sort of heter because this is a mitzvah to get rid of the klayim. Okay, so that's how these people are allowed to work. Now, I'll give you a riddle based on what we just said. Who's paying? Who's paying? Who pays for the pickers? The owner of the field or Bezdin? Based on what we just learned. We just learned that Bezdin waits until Chol Hamoed to get cheap labor. So l'chayra, I can infer from that who pays? Bezdin pays. Why? Because if it was the private guy, the owner of the field, which is really his responsibility, he should pay. But if it's his responsibility to pay, why do I have to save him money? Why do I have to get him cheap labor? I'm going to do it on a Monday afternoon. Let him pay. Let him pay through his nose. It's my problem. So right from here, that Bezdin pays. Omar Rav Zvid, V'teimer Rav Mishar, Shema Mino, Ki Yavinalu Sachar, when we pay this guy, Mitrumas Halishka Yavinalu. So Trumas Halishka, if we go back to this picture, don't forget, this is Trumas Halishka. So we have a concept called Das Bezdin Masna Aleim. Yes, I donated the money for a carbon, but you give it with Bezdin's intent, and Bezdin has the right to appropriate this money to something else. I know you don't like it. I know you want your money to go to a carbon on the Mizbeach. I'm doing it for client picking. Bezdin decides that. They have the right to do it. They take your money, decide whatever they want to do. But it comes out of this money. You see, this shiur lishka, there's different things that we could do with the money below the line, different things. That's the Gemara in Shkolim. What do we do with the extra money? So you have extra money, we do different things with it.
Even if it's not done with bekorov?
What?
Even if it's not done with bekorov?
What do you mean done?
Even if it's not done with bekorov?
Yeah. The may, here, it says, doesn't say bekorov. Mitrumas halishka. Bekorov is more for the upkeep of the Beis Hamikdash. That's a different kind of money, and that is extreme. Trumas halishka is l'chayr money that goes to the carbon tamid. I could take from that. Mitrumas halishka yavinalu. I pay them from that money. Because if you would think for a second that the owner of the field has to pay, what difference does it make to us where we get the labor? as much as it costs. That's how much they should pay and finished. You see here, yahrzeit. When you have a shul, you have an organization, whatever it is, MDY, you have to be careful. You have to be careful what you do with the money. It's other people's money. It's hegdish money. People donated it for certain purposes. You have to be careful. You can't just waste money. Bezdin is very careful. They sit back and say, wait a minute, how can I get the cheapest labor? Oh, let's wait all the way to Chalamayid. There's people out of work. I'll hire them. They make a cheshbon. They don't who cares? I have a full chest of money and I'll just spend it. On the flip side, they say that here in Bet Shemesh, they wanted to build a bridge. So they brought in 3 contractors. The Russian contractor said he'll do it for $2 million. So why $2 million? So a third for the material, third for the labor, a third for me. Okay? The Arab guy comes in, he says, $1 million. $1 million? How do you get from 2 to $1 million? Don't worry about it. I got cheap labor, got cheap material, third for me, third for them, third for the material. Comes the Jew, the Yid, the Israeli guy, says, 3 million. 3 million? The Arab said $1 million. He says, this is the way it works. 1 million, I'm going to hire the Arab. 1 million for me, and 1 million for you. That's all you get those. But that's what we should not do. From here, you see, you have to, what? Who got you? Who? You have to ask the question. It just came out in the newspaper yesterday. Who got the contract? That's how I know the story. Zog the Gemara. Vad kama? Vad kama? How much klayim is on the field that I have to be disturbed by? What? One stem of some sort of plant? I have to go make bezim and sugar and come with my trucks and everything? Says the Gemara. It's the same amount like we learned. Kolsa sheyeshba roiva zera memin acher yimayit. Says Rashi echad mechavdal b'sar 1/24. Anything less than that, I don't have to worry about it. Says the Gemara, so you're telling me that they have to sit there and pluck all these weeds, all this climb. Vatanya, hiskinus yumafkirim kol kula. Not necessarily do they have to go. Maybe according to some, you do have to be oiker, but at least there's another concept called hefker. You have a lot of climb. You know what I'm going to do to you? I'm taking your whole field and telling everybody they can take whatever they want. You're not going to make any money on it. You need to make sure that there's no climb in your field. You don't? It becomes hefker. It's a very big punishment. So why do I have to sit there with a special tool and start removing climb? You're right. In our days, we already instituted a penalty, and the penalty is whatever your field is worth, you have $100,000 worth of produce, hefker. Come, everybody come, take, free for all. But before that, Bezin was very makbid. Why should the guy lose money? I'm going to come help you pluck the weeds, the climb. When it started out, the Bezin came, made a pile of climb, and actually allowed the person to benefit from the climb. There's no issue to benefit. Here, you're not allowed to eat it, but you can benefit. Take, let your animal eat from it. Instead of apologizing to the Bezdin, sorry for coming out there, these owners, these farmers, they were very happy. Doublefold. What? Twofold. So they say, first of all, they get a free. Here, I have a picture. If you could see. It says over here, free Bezdin removal. They come, special weed solution. They come, whatever you need. We're here to serve you. Oh, Shalom Aleichem. Don't worry, they're coming soon. The client guys are coming. We have no problem. And not only that, they make a big pile and they feed it to our animals. Why should I care? So they decided, let's go slow. Let's go. Oh, I have to say, sponsored by Moshe Horn and Woody Wyman as a schuz for Morty Moskowitz. And there's a new sponsor now. Sponsored in honor of Rebelli, wishing that Slochen, all his endeavors, both in Gashmis and Ruchnis, Yishkoyach. Do I know what that is?
It's anonymous.
No, for real.
It's anonymous.
It's not Chaim Peres Levin? Somebody else. Wow. Okay. Shkoyef to the new guy. Appreciate it. I have to say this every day. Very embarrassing. For a whole month. Do they do it on purpose, I think. They like to see me blush. But let's punish them. Let's take all the klayim, it's food, throw it out there on the street. No regret, no remorse. They're happy. Bezdin did a job for us. They removed the extra from our field. And therefore, they made a new takana. Since you guys are happy, nobody's going to be happy now. People are going to be sad. When you see this truck, it's free. You know it's free. Your whole field is free. Everybody comes to eat from your field. So again, you're asking me, at the end of the day, they made the field hefker. Yes, that's in our days. But it took hundreds of years or whatever it took for Bezdin to institute that halacha. First, Bezdin was nice. He did it for free, and people were too happy with it. Says the Heilige Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsor, Latzlacha Ruchni, for Shimshon David Lipa ben Yudas Beila, Yosef Yudah ben Yudas Beila, and Yeshua Michal ben Yudas Beila. Happens to be Tomer's brother, I told you that already. The flying anonymous. The flying mile anonymous. Realize me, Yaakov, there's no anonymous in this year. I can't even say what I want to say. A guy sent me a message today. I'm not going to say the whole thing. He says, I'm anonymous, but I'm anonymous. Don't say this. He says 6 words that I can't say. The standard words I use to hint to who he is. There is no hint. Okay, fine. No hint. Who is it? Chaim.
You have to get a name that you use for anonymous for these guys. Just one name.
No. There's a real anonymous and there's fake anonymouses. That's it. I know the fakers. Rebbe Elazar Yaakov Omer. Moishlenis amayim mi'ilon li'ilon. Who's Rebbe Elazar Yaakov? Rebbe Elazar Yaakov, Mishnasi Kavanaki Taisus reminds us, when he fights with anybody in learning, he's always right. We always pass like Rebbe Elazar Yaakov. Moishlenis amayim mi'ilon li'ilon. If you have 2 trees and you have a pool of water under one tree, you can make some sort of little ditch with your foot. It doesn't take a lot of effort. And you get it to come to the other tree. Now, we're talking about, obviously, on Chalamayid. And these trees, typically, they're good with the rainwater. But since it's not a lot of work, not a lot of effort, let me add a little bit of water. I have it here. And anyways, I'll give him a little water. It's between the trees, everything else, what's the rest of the field, Rabbi Isai? There's Beis HaShlachin that it doesn't need rain, and there's Beis HaBaal that does. So over here we have what?
Beis HaShlachin needs rain.
Beis HaShlachin is right. Beis HaShlachin is irrigation. He needs it. Beis HaBaal doesn't need rain. So over here, over here, it doesn't need rain, the rest. So don't give water to the rest. So here we have this concept, we saw it a few times already in the Masechta, that if something is already watered, you get used to it. The field is used to water. By you not watering it, you're going to ruin it. There's going to come to a hefset over here. So you didn't spoil it yet. You didn't start irrigating it. So nothing's going to happen if you don't. I guess what happened, I'm not a farmer, but I guess if it starts sprouting and then all of a sudden there's no water, then it's going to die out. If the seeds are in the ground and there's no water, so do it after Yontav. Nothing's going to happen to the seeds. I told my chavrusa something here. He did not like it, but because he didn't like it, I'm going to tell it to you anyway. I thought that this is a remez to that yesod of what the Zohar says. That if you learn, whatever you learn in this world, you get to learn in the world to come. That's one of the benefits of Daf Yomi. Even if you go quickly, you don't understand everything, but at least you get to learn it in the future. If Chas Hashem, somebody's nifter early and all he learned is Baba Kam and Baba Basra, so for millions of years, for eternity, he's going to be learning Baba Kam and Baba Basra. If he gets to learn, what's so wrong with that? It's Givaldic. All the Chaim stencils over and over, the whole thing.
Only to Daf Yom.
Only to Daf Yom, right? Not the whole Baba Kama. Let's exaggerate, right? No, but they do in yeshiva. They finish the whole thing. They try. But if a guy learns all of Shas, he does all of Shas. So maybe he can fit into the word stam for the shtick of it. Zrayim shalei shasel lifnei hamoed. If you don't, moed is olam haba. If you don't drink before olam haba, then you don't get to drink forever. Lo yashkim hamoed. The only problem with this pshat is he didn't say it. I said v'chacham matir b'zeh b'zeh. We probably go with chacham. Okay, fine. V'chacham matir b'zeh b'zeh. So this chachamim is Reb Meir, which we already had in the beginning of the Masechta, and he says that you're allowed to irrigate as they abal. Because they abal that doesn't require rainwater, you're allowed to irrigate it, even on Chalamayim. Says the Gemara Amar Yehuda. This first line in the Mishnah, Rabbi Lezim Yaakov Omer Moishchem es hamayim milan lilan. Says Rabbi Yehuda, Im hoysa sada mitunenes muter. If it's like a nice moist field, typically, but today, explains Rashi, it's already dried out. Mutter, you allowed to irrigate it. It's only because before Yontif, it wasn't irrigated. It says mefurish. But if it's a field that typically is moist, and today it dried out, mutter, you're allowed to irrigate. Ve'ein mashkim they gorid b'moed, but this is the opposite basically. A gorid is a naturally dry field that doesn't require water. It's naturally dry, and it's able to survive without you irrigating it. So therefore, you cannot irrigate that kind of field on Chalamayim because you're not gaining anything. It knows how to survive without you. V'chachamim matirim b'zeh u'b'zeh. Chachamim matir a dry field, and also seeds that didn't receive water before. What does Rashi say here? So b'zeh u'b'zeh. Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure. Seeds that didn't get water before the Moed, says Rashi. Okay. So you see from here, a vegetable garden. So you have vegetables. Shari the tarbutze, it's similar lashon but not the same. Tarbutze is a garden. Tarbutze means to sprinkle water lightly on it. Not to water it, but to sprinkle lightly. You're permitted to sprinkle water on Chalamayim. They garid, my taima. Why? According to Chacham, it's mutter to be mashka. Why? The avla mashvi lo charfa. You're going to take it from being late in the game to early in the game. So you see, to give it a little bit of, it's not going to die. We're not talking about the produce is going to die. Even to take it from late to early, to improve the situation a little bit, you're allowed to water, it's a mele, you're allowed to water your garden. Not because I'm worried it's going to die out completely, you're going to have a hefsed mammon. V'chachamim oimrim, v'chacham atirim, b'zeh b'zeh. Gared, a dry, and where they didn't drink before the Moed. Oh, Ravina Shmami, no, I said it already, fine. Okay. Achanami, aflo mashvi lei charfa. What I'm trying to do is, I'm taking this vegetable garden and making, instead of being late in the season, it'll be early in the season. Turn around. Marbitzins, they love him bashvius, even though it's usher to water it, but you're allowed to sprinkle water on it, even on Shemitah. You hear? Even on Shemitah. Avaloi b'moed, na chalamayim. Oh, v'tanya marbitzin b'moed b'shvius. You're allowed to do it on Chalamayid. Our Mishnah seems like you can't be mashka according to Rebbe Yaakov. The one that's also says Zoyser, it's Rebbe Yaakov. Tiny Yidach. Marbitins they love an erev shvius kadesh yetzu yirokes shvius. You could sprinkle water erev shmita so that the vegetables come out on shmita. V'loyoid el shmarbitins they love an shvius kadesh yetzu yirokes l'matzai shvius. Listen to this. There's three halachas here. I'm allowed to sprinkle water on the field before Shemitah, so that on Shemitah it grows. I'm allowed to even sprinkle on Shemitah itself so that the fruit should grow after Shemitah. What about sprinkling water on Shemitah itself so it should grow on Shemitah? No, that not. I'm allowed to sprinkle that should grow after Shemitah. I just saw a shocking halacha this morning. I have to look into it. Because for me, it's very problematic. You know, on Shabbos, the halacha is, I'm allowed to turn on my sprinkler 2 minutes before Shkia and let it run the whole Shabbos. Yeah, I turn on my air conditioner, I turn on my sprinkler, whatever I want to do. Are you permitted to use a Shabbos clock for a sprinkler on Shemitah? I have one on my porch. I have the whole thing. L'chayra, why not? Says Rav Osner, it's usher. Now he doesn't talk about a porch. He talks about fruit, vegetables. I'm assuming he might have the same halacha, so I have to check it out. Because right now, my porch is working great. What? It is mechuber l'karka. That's karka. If my porch is not mechuber l'karka, then my mikveh is also not mechuber l'karka. So I have another problem. No. It's mechuber l'karka. Concrete is karka. What? It's part of the ground. So, what does he say? He says you have to be mechalik between Shabbos and Shemitah. Because in Shemitah, the pasuk says, B'shafsa ha'aretz. You hear this? You have to make sure that your land lays fallow. B'shafsa ha'aretz. So by you putting on a Shabbos timer, this is Rav Osner. I don't know if everybody else like it. I didn't see anybody else that argues. It's not B'shafsa ha'aretz. What? Right. But we're saying here, based on this sugya, only watering. The sugya is talking about only watering. And it's saying that on Shemitah, you're not allowed to water. What?
You're allowed to water to prevent damage. You're not allowed to water to improve.
So you're not allowed to water to improve. And what am I doing? Oh, so he's saying that on my porch is to prevent damage.
You're allowed to water
okay.
enough that it doesn't get damaged.
Enough that it doesn't get damaged. So I have to sit there with a meter. And I don't have, it's not enough. It's extra. Because I'll tell you how I know it's extra. My whole porch is wet every time it goes on.
And you have to fix that. Because it's open. That doesn't mean it's not just maintaining the plants because the water runs over.
He said just enough. That's what he said. He passed it. I don't know. I'm not the Paisik.
No, but he's saying...
Okay. Okay. Shkoyach. Nichamtani. So you're saying I'm not over every day. Good. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored. The official Mishnah, sponsored. Latzachas Ruchni. For anonymous. Shimshon David Lipo ben Yudis Beila, Yosef Yehuda ben Beila, and Yeshua Michal ben Beila. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah. You could trap pests from your field on Chalamayid, on Mizdei Elon, Mizdei Alav, and Kedarke b'Mayid u'b'Shviyas. On Chalamayid, because of a monetary loss, and on Shemitah. We're going to see in a second what this Ishus is, but we know what an Achbar is. Yeah? If you have mice, what do? Huh? Picture of the Kestir Rebbe. R'mshali Kestir. Oh. R'mshaya ben Remoishe. It's 8 o'clock. Yeah. Somebody said a corny joke. He said that he had on a screensaver R'mshaya ben Remoishe, and his mail stopped working. Da 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 da. Best Achbar Mizdei Elon, Mizdei Alav, and Kedarka b'Mayid u'b'Shviyas. The Chacham Miriam, Mizdei Elon, Kedarka, u'Mizdei Alav, and Shalai Kedarka. What does that mean? Kedarka means you put out regular traps, or you have to do some sort of shina. You have to do it in a different way. So Chacham say, when it's trees, it's orchard, it's a loss, big loss. You put regular traps. Mizdei Alav and Shalai Kedarka. If it's wheat, you do it in a different way. And he could fix your fence that broke, that has a breach in the fence. And in Shemitah, there's no isser to build. It's not chalamoid where you have tirchi yisera, not tirchi yisera. On Shemitah, you go ahead and you build a fence from scratch. My ishus, what is this creature called the ishus? Or Rabbi Yehuda, bria she'ein lo einayim. L'chayra, as soon as I saw it, and the article also says it, it's the mole. The mole is a terrible pest when it comes to farmers and this and that. If you look closely, it has some sort of eye here, but it has like a little bit, it's covered. It could see the difference between dark and light, but doesn't really see. Mole. Now, does anybody remember where else we have moles? Where else do we talk about moles? Where? For what sugya? Huh? Sachim? Shmona Shratzim. One of the Shmona Shratzim is a Tinshemes, which is a mole. Okay. They're very small. The size of in the picture it looks larger, but by the way, in the biblical zoo, I think they have that. They have a thing of moles. In other words, they have these. You pretend you're a mole. The kids pretend they're moles, and they come out of different holes. You know, they have the glass. Yeah. Omar Rava bar Yishmael v'Yisema Rav Yemer bar Shlemi Mikro. Where do we see this in the pasuk? K'moy shablul. So shablul is this. It's beautiful. That's why I also brought it. A snail. A snail that comes out of its shell. What's going to happen? Temes yahaloich. Temes is it's going to melt. Basically, Rashi explains that the moisture there, the sun is going to kill it. It needs its protection. Nevel Eishes. So this is Ishos Eishes. This is this creature that we're talking about. Baal Chazu. They don't see well. Shamish. They don't see the sun. Over here it says they don't see the sun. I thought they do. They're able to recognize it. But the point is they don't see. So that's how you see the Lashon of Ishos means a mole. Torah Rabbanan. Southern is Ishos. Is Achbarim. Is there Alavim. Is there Ilan Kedarkoi. You could trap them. Umachrivim Chayrin Amalim. And you could destroy animal ant holes. Keitzad Machrivim. How do you destroy an ant hole? It seems kind of difficult to get into the ground. Maybe offer mecharzeh, v'noisen to charzeh. You take dirt from one ant hole, you put it in the other one. When they smell the others, they destroy the others. It's mamish like a mashal lahavdil elef havdei avdalas. If you think about it, they're idiots. No, they're the same mishpacha. They're the same ant. So just let them be there. What do you care? But sometimes you have like Chasidim, Litvak, Sfard, and this. It smells a shtickle different. They daven nusach, different nusach. Destroy them. Ay, never. That's how we are. I'm saying we act like ants. When does it work that they destroy each other? When you take ant hole from two different sides of the river. There's no Bet Shemesh bridge. And there's no board, like a mitzvah. Bekitzer, they can't get from one side, there's no border at Kama, at Parsa. Bekitzer, this is how you do it. If you want to destroy, follow these. If you have antals you want to get rid of, take a little bit from a Parsa away, make sure there's no bridges. Have a wonderful day. Don't tell anybody that we're here now. Let's just keep it like this.